Your cat climbed into your lap, settled, started to purr, and something in you just relaxed. Not because you decided to, not because anything changed, just because they were there. Most people call that comfort. They call it the simple pleasure of having a cat. They don't think too hard about what actually happened in that moment. But something happened. Something measurable. Something that science is only now beginning to fully understand. And what researchers are finding isn't just interesting. It's the kind of thing that makes every quiet moment you've ever shared with your cat mean something completely different. Because that moment, the one where you both just exhaled, wasn't just comfort, it was chemistry. The same neurochemical that surges when a mother cradles her newborn. The same one that floods your brain when someone you love walks into the room. It was released in both your brains simultaneously. In the same moment, your cat settled into your lap and started to purr. And there's one finding from a study published in early 2025 that most cat owners would never expect. It's about what happens to your cat's brain chemistry when you hold them before they're ready. And once you hear it, every forced cuddle you've ever initiated is going to look completely different. We'll get to that one last. Let's start with what's actually happening inside both of you. 1. Your brain and your cat's brain are running the same chemistry. The chemical is oxytocin. You've probably heard it called the love hormone, but that name undersells what it actually does. Oxytocin is the neurochemical at the center of almost every meaningful bond a mammal forms in their lifetime. It surges when a mother holds her baby for the first time. It releases during deep physical contact between partners. It rises when long-term friends reunite. It is the biological substrate of trust, the chemical that tells your nervous system, this is safe, this matters, hold on to this. And for a long time, scientists assumed this kind of chemistry was reserved for bonds between members of the same species, between humans and humans, between cats and cats. They were wrong. A 2021 study out of Japan placed women with their cats for a few minutes of gentle interaction, stroking, talking softly, just being present. Researchers measured their hormone levels before and after. The results showed elevated oxytocin in the owner's saliva compared to a resting period without their cat. The chemical response was real, measurable, reproducible. Your brain doesn't distinguish between a human you love and a cat you love. When your cat is close, when they're purring, when they're pressed against you, your brain responds the same way it responds to the people who matter most to you. That's not sentimentality. That's neuroscience. 2, there are specific moments that trigger the bond, and you probably experience them every day without realizing it. Researchers have started pinpointing exactly when oxytocin releases during cat-human interaction. And what they're finding is that it isn't random. It's tied to specific, repeatable moments. The first is physical contact. Gentle petting, not rushed, not perfunctory, but the slow, easy kind, triggers oxytocin release in your brain. The softness of the fur, the warmth of the contact, the rhythm of the stroke, each of those elements is doing something neurological. A 2002 study found that gentle cat contact produces an oxytocin surge that helps lower cortisol, our primary stress hormone, which in turn reduces blood pressure and even sensitivity to pain. Your cat is literally medicating you, not by accident, by being exactly what they are. The second trigger is the purr. Most people know that purring means their cat is content, but the sound itself, that low-frequency rumble, does something to the human nervous system independent of everything else. Research has linked exposure to cat purring with measurable reductions in heart rate and blood pressure. Oxytocin is part of what mediates that response. You're not just hearing a sound, your brain is receiving it as a signal. a signal that says calm down, everything is fine. And the third trigger is the one most owners don't think of as a trigger at all. Simply being chosen. When your cat walks across a room, passes every other option, and settles specifically next to you, your brain registers that. Something in your nervous system responds to being selected by a creature that didn't have to. And that response includes oxytocin. You are being chemically rewarded for being your cat's person. 3. In 2025, scientists proved it goes both ways and found something that changes everything about force contact. For years, the working assumption was that oxytocin in the cat-human bond mostly meant something for the human. Cats were the beneficiaries of care. The humans were the ones experiencing the neurochemical reward. A study published in February 2025 changed that completely. Researchers monitored oxytocin levels in cats during 15 minutes of play and cuddling at home with their owners. What they found was that when owners engaged in relaxed petting and cuddling, gentle contact that the cat initiated or clearly welcomed, the owner's oxytocin rose, and so did the cat's. The bond is mutual, neurochemically mutual. When you hold your cat and they lean into you, both your brains are being changed by the same hormone at the same time. You're bonding in the most literal biological sense of that word. But here's the part that changes things. The same study found that cats with more anxious or avoidant attachment styles responded very differently to physical contact that was pushed on them. Cats who were picked up or held before they were ready, before they chose the interaction, showed oxytocin levels that actually dropped during the contact. Not neutral, lower than before it started. And hey, if that's making you rethink every unsolicited grab you've ever made, hit that like button and subscribe. This is exactly what we're here for. 4. Cats bond differently than dogs, and that actually makes their chemistry more powerful. Here's a comparison that surprises most people. In a widely referenced 2016 experiment, researchers measured oxytocin in both pets and owners before and after play sessions. Dogs showed an average 57% spike in oxytocin. Cats showed roughly 12%. Most people read that and conclude that dogs love their owners more. But that's the wrong interpretation entirely. Dogs were domesticated specifically for constant human companionship. Their entire social wiring evolved to orient toward people, to seek eye contact, physical approval, and interaction. Oxytocin flows easily and often because their nervous system is essentially running a continuous human bonding program. Cats evolved from solitary hunters. They didn't need social bonds to survive. They didn't develop the same automatic, always available bonding response, which means their oxytocin isn't a default setting, it's a deliberate one. When your cat releases oxytocin for you, they aren't running a program. They made a decision. Their nervous system, built over thousands of years to operate independently, chose to bond with you anyway. That 12% isn't a smaller love, it's a harder won one, and research backs this up directly. The 2025 study found the biggest oxytocin surges in cats who were securely attached, cats who had built genuine trust with their owner over time. The bond doesn't come automatically, but when it comes, it is chemically real. A cat's trust isn't given, it's earned, and what you hold when you've earned it is not small. 5. The slow blink isn't just a signal, it's a chemical exchange. Remember at the beginning when I mentioned there's something about the slow blink that most owners don't know? Something that makes every quiet moment across a room mean more than you realized. Here's what the science is showing. The slow blink, that deliberate half-lidded closing of the eyes that your cat offers you from the couch, from across the kitchen, from the foot of the bed, has been studied directly. Researchers at the University of Sussex confirmed in 2020 that cats who receive slow blinks from humans are significantly more likely to slow blink back and move closer to that person. The signal communicates safety, trust, the absence of threat. But here's what that exchange is actually doing in both your brains. Eye contact between bonded individuals, the kind that involves a moment of softening, of lowering the guard, is a known oxytocin trigger, the same mechanism documented in the gaze between mothers and infants, between long-term partners. The moment of mutual softening activates the bond chemistry in both directions at once. When your cat slow blinks at you and you slow blink back, you aren't just exchanging a signal, you're triggering a mutual neurochemical event. Oxytocin rises in both of you, the trust deepens, the bond at a biological level gets stronger. That moment costs 3 seconds, it asks nothing of either of you, and every time it happens, both your brains are physically changed by it. Your cat has been offering you this across every room you've ever shared, every sofa, every kitchen counter, every quiet evening, blinking slowly, waiting to see if you'd blink back. That wasn't just a look. That was love. The ancient, biological, measurable kind. And it was happening in both directions the whole time. If this video helped you understand your furry friend just a bit more, share it, leave a comment below and subscribe. See you in the next one.